Hello everyone, this is my 7th video on motor system examination. Today I am going to tell you how to assess the muscle power of the trunk. In this we have to assess the muscle power of the abdomen, thorax and the spine. So first is abdominal muscle power assessment. In this we will tell the child to sit up from supine position. Initially abdominal muscles will contract to raise the head and the shoulder up to first 20 centimeters from the bed. After that, hip flexor also contract and child will bring the trunk into the upright position. We have to keep our hand over the forehead to check the power against resistance. And the abdominal muscles which contract for these actions are rectus abdominis, which is the main muscle. It is supplied by the anterior division of the thoracic spinal nerve, and other muscles are pyramidalis, transverse abdominis, oblique. It is also supplied by the anterior division of thoracic spinal nerve. Basically, rectus abdominis flex the vertebral column. It compresses the abdominal viscera and also act in forced expiration. If the child is having paralysis of the abdominal muscle but the hip flexor are normal, then when child will sit up, child will be able to sit, but the hyperextension of spine occur due to the paralysis of abdominal muscle, because abdominal muscle flex the vertebral column. So child when sit during the muscle paralysis, there will be hyperextension of the spine occur. Another condition in which child will have the abdominal muscle paralysis, example T10 myelopathy. In this child will have the lower abdominal muscle paralysis, and when child raise the head in supine position for sitting, umbilicus pulls cephalad. It is known as Beaver's sign. Now the assessment of thorax muscle power. There are two types of muscle which act during the inspiration. These are intercostal muscles and the diaphragm. Intercostal muscles are supplied by the intercostal nerve, which is the anterior division of T1 to T12 thoracic spinal nerve. When it contract, it expand the anteroposterior and the transverse diameter of the thorax. Whenever child is having intercostal muscle weakness, it will causes the adduction of costal margin and child will have the abdominal respiration. So child will have the normal diaphragm muscle. So diaphragmatic muscle contraction will increase whenever child is having intercostal muscle weakness. It is to compensate the intercostal muscle weakness. It will lead to the alternate bulging and retraction of epigastrium. We label as a abdominal breathing. And intercostal space retract during inspiration and ribs do not rise and separate whenever child is having the intercostal muscle weakness. Now another muscle which is very important for the respiration is diaphragm. It is the principal muscle of the respiration supplied by the C3 to C5 by phrenic nerve. When it contract, it expands the vertical diameter of the thorax by descent of the diaphragm. So vertical diameter of the thorax increase by the contraction of the diaphragm, and the anteroposterior and transverse diameter of the thorax increase by the contraction of intercostal muscle. So whenever child is breathing, or even during sneezing, coughing, laughing, vomiting, or even during urination, diaphragm muscle contract. Whenever child is having unilateral diaphragm paralysis, it is very difficult to detect, but in bilateral diaphragm paralysis you will find that excursion of the costal margin will increase and epigastrium does not bulge during inspiration, and child will have the difficulty or even not able to do the coughing or sneezing whenever there is a bilateral diaphragm paralysis, and difficulty in the breathing can be severe enough and child may require the respiratory support whenever there is a diaphragmatic paralysis. Now the assessment of spinal muscle power. In this we have to assess the spine extensor and spine flexor. For spine extensor, in prone position we have to tell the child to raise the head and shoulder without the help of hand to test the extensor of spine. If the child is having the spine extensor muscles weakness, then child will have the lordotic posture, which will disappear when child will be in the lying down position, and it will be even hyperlordotic when child will have the sitting or standing position. Now for the spine flexor, we can tell the child to sit from the recumbent position and bend forward or touch the toes with the fingertips. And the spinal muscles for all these actions are erector spinae, paraspinal or paravertebral muscles supplied by the posterior-primary rami of spinal nerve. So this is all about the muscle power assessment of the trunk. Thank you so much.